The crowd was already laughing when the singer waved a small hand toward the front row. Under the bright stage lights, a little girl stood frozen, her shoulders tense, her head lowered. No one expected what would happen next. It was supposed to be a joke, a quick moment of fun before the real show continued. But in that quiet pause, something powerful was about to unfold. Sometimes the biggest miracles begin with the smallest act. And sometimes kindness walks onto a stage disguised as laughter, only to leave behind tears that change everyone in the room. Before we begin, if you enjoy stories that remind you of the goodness still alive in this world, please take a moment to subscribe, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps us spread these moments of hope and compassion here on Kindness Action. The singer was a well-known performer, famous for his big voice, bold jokes, and confident presence. That night, the theater was packed. People had come to escape their worries, to laugh, to clap, and to forget about their long weeks. The singer loved working the crowd, pulling people into his show, and making them part of the fun. As he scanned the audience, his eyes landed on a little girl standing beside her mother near the aisle. She couldn't have been more than 10 years old. She wore a simple white shirt and jeans, her hair pulled back neatly. She looked out of place in a room full of adults dressed for a night out. With a grin, the singer pointed at her and said into the microphone, "You there? Come on up here. Let's see if you can sing better than me." The audience laughed. Some clapped. It felt harmless, playful, and light. The girl's mother hesitated, but the crowd's encouragement grew louder. The girl slowly made her way onto the stage. As she walked, her steps were small and unsure. Close, it was clear she was nervous. Her hands shook slightly, and she kept her eyes on the floor. The singer leaned down and spoke softly to her, though the microphone still caught every word. "What's your name?" he asked kindly. "Emily," she whispered. He joked again, asking if she was ready to become famous. The crowd laughed once more, but this time the laughter faded quicker. Something about Emily's quiet voice changed the mood. She wasn't playing along. She wasn't smiling. She looked scared. The singer noticed it too. For the first time that night, he paused. He bent down so they were eye level and turned the microphone away. No one heard what he said, but his expression softened. Emily nodded, took a deep breath, and stepped toward the microphone. The room fell silent. The singer asked her what song she wanted to sing. Emily shrugged and said she didn't know many songs. She explained that her dad used to sing to her before he passed away, and the song he loved most was one he used to hum at bedtime. It wasn't popular. It wasn't fancy. It was just something special between them. The singer swallowed hard. The joke was gone now. In its place was something real. "Sing it for us," he said gently. "Just the way your dad did." Emily closed her eyes at first. Her voice was barely louder than a whisper. Some people leaned forward in their seats, trying to hear. Then, slowly, her voice grew stronger. It wasn't perfect, but it was honest. Every note carried emotion. Every word felt like it came straight from her heart. Within seconds, the room changed. People stopped shifting in their seats. Phones that had been raised for laughs were now held still, recording something unforgettable. A woman in the front row wiped tears from her eyes. A man in the balcony lowered his head, overcome with emotion. Emily sang like she wasn't on a stage at all. She sang like she was back in her room, a little girl listening to her father's voice, holding on to love instead of fear. The singer stood beside her, completely still. He didn't sing along. He didn't interrupt. He simply listened. When Emily finished, the silence returned. But this time it wasn't empty. It was full. Then the applause came. It started slowly, one person standing, then another, until the entire theater was on its feet. The applause wasn't loud because people were excited. It was loud because people were grateful. Grateful for being reminded of love, loss, and the strength hidden inside a small, brave child. Emily looked up, confused. She hadn't expected this. She hadn't known her voice could do that. Tears rolled down her cheeks as the singer knelt beside her again. "You didn't just sing," he said into the microphone, his voice breaking. "You gave us a gift." He wrapped his jacket around her shoulders and hugged her gently. In that moment, the audience didn't see a famous performer and a nervous child. They saw kindness in action. They saw what happens when someone chooses compassion over comedy. After the show, the video of Emily's performance spread everywhere. Millions of people watched it online. But what stayed with them wasn't the singer's fame or the size of the stage. It was the simple decision to stop, listen, and care. Emily didn't become famous overnight. She went back to school. She went back to being a regular kid. But something inside her changed. She learned that her voice mattered. could have died. That her story mattered. That even in her fear she could touch hearts. The singer later said that inviting her on stage was meant to be a joke, but letting her finish was the best decision he had ever made. He admitted that kindness had taught him more in those few minutes than years of performing ever had. This story isn't just about a girl who sang. It's about what happens when we choose to be gentle instead of careless, when we pause instead of pushing forward, when we see the human being in front of us, not the entertainment value. Kindness doesn't always look grand. Sometimes it looks like lowering a microphone. Sometimes it sounds like listening. Sometimes it feels like letting someone be seen. And the truth is, we all have moments like that. Chances to lift someone up instead of laughing. Chances to turn a joke into a blessing. Chances to change a life with one small act of kindness as you go about your day. Remember, Emily, remember the power of giving someone space to be brave. You never know whose heart is waiting to be heard. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs hope today. Because kindness, once shared, has a way of echoing far beyond the stage.